Imagine a world without fire. Dark, cold, still. Now picture a single spark falling onto dry grass. At first it smolders, then it flickers, and soon a flame engulfs everything around it, warming, illuminating, propelling. That spark is enthusiasm. It doesn't just warm our souls, it ignites the gears that set our lives, our dreams, our achievements in motion. Enthusiasm isn't merely an emotion or a mood. It's an energy that surges through us like an electric current, pushing us forward when everything feels impossible. It's a force that not only transforms us, but also sparks others, creating a chain reaction of inspiration. Today, I want to tell you why enthusiasm isn't a luxury but a necessity, not a fleeting visitor, but a constant companion for anyone who wants to leave a mark on the world. What is enthusiasm? It's not just joy or euphoria, though they often tag along. It's a state where a fire burns inside you, refusing to let you stop. It's waking up with a thought bigger than the day ahead, your heart racing at the mere idea of taking action. Enthusiasm is when you look at a mountain of obstacles and see not rocks, but steps to the summit. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions or ask the world's permission. It arrives quietly like a whisper of a dream, or loudly like a volcanic eruption, and turns everything upside down. It's a force you feel in your body, heat in your chest, sparks in your eyes, hands trembling with the urge to create. Enthusiasm is when you don't just live, you burn. Look at those who've changed the course of history. What do Thomas Edison, Amelia Earhart, and Nelson Mandela have in common? Their intellect? Sure. Their persistence? Absolutely. But above all, their enthusiasm. It was the inner fire that drove them forward when the world said no. Edison didn't just invent the light bulb after 1,000 failures. He burned with a passion for experimentation, for the idea of lighting up the world. Earhart didn't just take to the skies, she flew because she couldn't not fly, her enthusiasm for freedom and heights overpowering fear or doubt. Mandela spent 27 years in prison but never broke because his faith in justice and enthusiasm for the fight were unquenchable. Their achievements weren't just the result of talent or luck. They were the fruits of the flames blazing in their souls. But enthusiasm isn't reserved for textbook heroes. It lives in all of us, waiting for the moment we let it flare up. Think back to a time when you were so caught up in something that the world faded away. Maybe it was an evening spent painting, the colors on the canvas coming together as if by magic. Or a night of writing a story, your characters springing to life in your mind, whispering their tales to you. Or a day preparing for a speech, every word you practiced fueling your strength. In those moments, you didn't feel tired, did you? The clock might have shown midnight, but to you it was just a blink. You were buzzing with energy, plugged into an invisible source. That was your enthusiasm, a force capable of pulling you out of the dark, giving you wings when the ground beneath you shakes. Enthusiasm isn't just a personal glow, it's contagious, like laughter rippling through a crowded room. When you talk to someone ablaze with it, you don't just hear their words, you feel their energy seeping into you. Their voice hums with passion, their eyes shine, their movements charge the air. Think of a teacher who spoke about their subject with such fervor that even if you didn't care for it, you listened, jaw dropped. Or a friend who shared their plans for the future with such conviction that you started dreaming alongside them. That's enthusiasm in action. It's a magnet, drawing in people, ideas, opportunities. Great leaders aren't just planners or commanders, they're the ones who can pass their flame to others. Picture a speech that rallied a nation to fight for freedom, or a song that made thousands of hearts beat as one. Behind it all is enthusiasm, the force that makes words alive and ideas unstoppable. I once heard a story about someone whose project became their life. He was a writer sitting in a dimly lit room, surrounded by notebooks and silence. The clock had long struck midnight, but he didn't notice. His fingers hammered the keys of an old typewriter, words pouring out like a river with no dam. He was writing about a world only he could see, yet to him it was more real than anything around him. When he glanced out the window, human spirit can do more than we ever imagine. Enthusiasm isn't just a flourish for work or dreams, it's what breathes life into them. Without it, even the brightest plans stay dead drafts, tucked away in a drawer. Imagine a musician playing without soul. The notes might be right, but they're hollow, unable to touch you. Now picture that same musician, fingers trembling with passion as they strike the strings. Their melody sinks into you, making you freeze, cry, or laugh. The difference isn't technique, it's what's behind it. Enthusiasm. It makes any task special, adding depth, meaning, magic. A presentation delivered with enthusiasm captivates a room. A meal cooked with enthusiasm becomes more than food. It's art. A dream fed by enthusiasm stops being a ghost. It takes shape, color, weight. So why do we so often lose this fire? Why does a faint ember flicker inside us instead of a roaring blaze, ready to die at the slightest breeze? Life is relentless. Routine drags us into its gray embrace, setbacks slap our hands, doubts whisper we're not good enough. We tire, we falter, we start believing our dreams are just childish fantasies doomed to fade. But here's a truth to etch into your heart. Enthusiasm doesn't vanish forever. It can be rekindled, even when all seems lost. How? Find what makes your soul sing. It might be painting, music, travel, helping others. Something that sets you trembling with anticipation. Don't have that right now? Then invent a goal. Big, bold, a little wild. It doesn't have to be reachable today. It just needs to call to you like a lighthouse in a storm, sparking something inside at the mere thought of it. Happiness isn't something you can lock in a box and admire. It's not in the past or present. It's always ahead, in the anticipation of what you can create. A happy person is one who dreams and chases those dreams with enthusiasm. Picture a house you want to build. Its warm walls, big windows, flowers on the sill. Or a trip you dream of at night. The ocean's roar, the taste of foreign food, wind in your hair. Or a project you want to start, something that could change your life or others. These images aren't just pictures in your head, they're seeds of your happiness. And enthusiasm is what waters them, warms them, gives them strength to break through stone and bloom. The more passion you pour into these dreams, the closer they come to reality. Here's one more story to show how enthusiasm works wonders. Imagine a young man who carried a dream in his heart for over 20 years. He wanted to create a magazine, not just a publication, but a beacon, to inspire people to live with goodness and honor. He had no money, no support, no experience, just an idea burning in him like a torch in the dark. He pictured it in vivid detail, the rustle of pages, eye-catching headlines, readers finding hope in its words. For 20 years, he kept that dream alive, refusing to let it fade, despite poverty, skepticism, and indifference. Then one day, he sat down and wrote the first article. Into those lines, he poured everything, his faith, his hopes, his heart that had beat to this idea for 2 decades. He read it to a friend, his voice shaking with enthusiasm, his eyes glowing like they held stars. And that friend, struck by this force, said, "I'll fund your magazine." That's how a dream became real. Why? Because enthusiasm made it alive, compelling, unstoppable. Enthusiasm is the bridge between imagination and reality. It doesn't ask, where will I find the resources? It simply knows the path will appear. And the most amazing thing? It draws that path to you. People can sense when you believe in what you're doing. Your voice becomes their compass, your eyes their light. Enthusiasm isn't just an emotion, it's a tool you can pick up and master. How? Start small. Find something that sets you alight, even if it's as simple as a walk in the rain or sketching a little drawing. If you don't have a passion right now, dream up a goal for the future. Something that feels out of reach but calls to you. Picture it every day. The moment you achieve it, the joy it brings. Speak it aloud, infuse your words with belief. Keep at it, and soon you'll feel a fire igniting within. This fire doesn't just affect you, it spreads to others. It's contagious, like a spring storm waking the earth. When you speak with enthusiasm, people don't just listen, they feel it. Your voice turns into a melody that draws them in. Imagine a salesperson so convinced of their product that you buy it without even planning to, or a speaker whose words ignite a room into applause. It's not magic, it's enthusiasm. It flows through your tone, your gestures, your energy. It transforms you from just a person into a beacon, shining in the dark, guiding those who are lost. But without enthusiasm, you're like a ship without sails, drifting aimlessly, slow, lifeless. Work becomes a burden. Dreams fade into shadows lost in the fog. You've seen people talk about their jobs with no spark in their eyes, haven't you? Their words drop like stones, touching no one. Now think of those who burn with enthusiasm. They're listened to, admired, followed. The difference isn't in what they say, but how they say it, with heart, with fire. Enthusiasm is a choice. You can live quietly, safely, avoiding risks, or you can choose the flame, one that warms but sometimes burns. It demands courage, faith, and the grit to get up after a fall, but in return it gives you a life that's vivid, full, real. So what will you choose? To smolder or to blaze? The answer's in your hands. Imagine a moment when silence suddenly bursts into life. Picture a dark, cold room where a tiny spark suddenly flickers. It lands on dry leaves, smolders, then flame. It grows, warms, illuminates, filling the space with energy. That spark is enthusiasm. It doesn't just chase away the darkness in our souls. It becomes the invisible engine that drives us toward action, dreams, victories. Enthusiasm isn't just a feeling, it's a force pulsing through our veins, charging us and those around us, leading us to goals that once seemed impossible. It's not a random flare, but a steady fire we can kindle within ourselves to transform our lives and the world. Today, I want to take you on a journey into the realm of enthusiasm, where you'll see how this power works, how it changes people, and why it's the key to true success. What is enthusiasm? It's not just joy or excitement, it's deeper, more primal. It's when you feel a heat rising in your chest, urging you to move. It's waking up with an idea that pulls you forward, one you can't wait to tackle. Enthusiasm is a lens that turns obstacles into challenges and failures into lessons. It doesn't wait for perfect timing or ask if you have the time or means. It just arrives. Sometimes as a quiet whisper of inspiration, sometimes as a roaring burst of passion, and flips everything upside down. It's energy that spills over, making your eyes shine and your voice quiver with excitement. It's what turns you from a bystander in life into its creator. Look at those who've left their mark on the world. What links Albert Einstein, unraveling the universe's mysteries for hours, and Oprah Winfrey, rising from poverty to global influence? Their minds? Yes. Their determination? Of course, but above all, their enthusiasm. It was the spark that kept them going. Einstein didn't just solve equations. He burned with a need to understand how the world worked, a passion that carried him when others would have quit. Oprah didn't just host a show. She believed in the power of stories to change lives, and her enthusiasm inspired millions. Their work wasn't a duty, but a calling, and that fire in their souls made them unstoppable. Yet enthusiasm isn't just for the elite. It's there for anyone willing to awaken it. Recall a time when you were so absorbed in something that the world melted away. Outside or your bank balance. It's born from within, from your belief in what you're doing. Enthusiasm is as catching as a summer breeze carrying the scent of flowers. When you meet someone blazing with this energy, you can't stay indifferent. Their voice rings like music. Their words pierce your heart. Their gaze lights you up. As a kid, when a friend gushed about a new adventure, jumping from a tree or exploring a secret cave, didn't you feel their enthusiasm spill into you? You wanted to run with them, even if the idea seemed wild. That's how this force works. It attracts, unites, inspires. Great leaders know this. Nelson Mandela didn't just fight for freedom. He burned with belief in it, and his enthusiasm rallied a nation. His words weren't just speeches. They were flames igniting others. Here's a story that struck me. Picture a young woman stepping into a stranger's office. She's selling magazine subscriptions. He's a writer buried in his work. She could have just quoted a price and asked for a sale. But no. She spots a manuscript on his desk and starts asking about it. Gently, genuinely, with curiosity. He opens up about his book, how he earns $250 for 15 pages. She listens, her eyes alight, and then says, "A subscription for 6 magazines? Less than you make for 1 page of your writing." Her words aren't just a pitch. They're drenched in enthusiasm he can feel. He can't resist. He buys a subscription not just for himself but for his 5 employees too. Why? Her energy, her belief in what she offered infected him. She didn't beg, she inspired. Her enthusiasm bridged her goal and his decision. This force isn't just an emotion, it's a tool. Without it, even the best ideas stay lifeless. Imagine a musician playing without soul. The notes are correct but empty. Now picture one pouring their heart into every string. Their music sinks into your soul. The difference isn't skill, it's enthusiasm. It breathes life into everything you do. A writer with passion doesn't just craft text. They build a world you want to dive into. A chef with enthusiasm turns food into art. Enthusiasm is what makes your work not just good, but unforgettable. So why do we lose this fire? Life is brutal. Routine drags us down, setbacks sting, doubts poison us. We start thinking our dreams are too big and we're too small. But here's the truth. Enthusiasm doesn't vanish forever. It can be reborn. How? Find what makes your heart race. It might be an old hobby, drawing, dancing, singing, or a new goal. Starting a business, traveling somewhere new, learning a skill. Don't have one now? Dream up something bold, grand, a little unreachable. It doesn't need to happen today. What matters is it beckons you like a lighthouse in the night. Every step toward it stokes your enthusiasm, even if it's just imagining it. Happiness isn't something you stumble over. It's in motion, in anticipation, in reaching for a goal. Picture standing atop a mountain you've climbed, or holding a book you wrote, or hugging someone you've longed to meet. These aren't just fantasies, they're seeds of your happiness, and enthusiasm is the water that nourishes them, the sun that warms them. The more you pour this energy into your dreams, the closer they get. Here's another story. Imagine a man dreaming of launching a magazine. Not just a publication, but something to inspire people to be better. He had no money, no connections, no experience. Just an idea and a fire in his soul. For 20 years, he carried this dream, picturing every issue, every article, every headline. He didn't give up, despite life's blows. One day, he sat down and wrote the first piece. Words flowed like a river, steeped in the enthusiasm he'd nurtured for decades. He read it to a friend who, struck by his passion, said, "I'll fund your magazine." That's how a dream turned real. Why? His enthusiasm made it alive, compelling, magnetic. He didn't just dream, he burned with it, and that fire drew in everything he needed. Enthusiasm isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. You can live quietly, calmly, without waves, or you can choose the flame, one that warms but sometimes scorches. It asks for courage, belief, resilience after falls, but it gives you a life, vibrant, full, true. How do you spark this fire? Start small. Find what excites you and take a step toward it. Picture your success, not just thinking it, but feeling it. The scent, the sound, the warmth. Say it aloud, charge your words with energy. Do it daily and soon you'll feel something flare inside. This force doesn't just change you, it shifts the world around you. When you speak with enthusiasm, people listen. When you act with it, they follow. A teacher who passionately explains a lesson stays with you forever. A salesperson who believes in their product doesn't just sell, they offer a dream. Your enthusiasm is a beacon, glowing in the dark, calling others and lighting the way. Without it, you're a shadow, moving mechanically. With it, you're a force reshaping reality. So, what will you choose? To smolder or to blaze? Enthusiasm isn't a gift of fate. It's your choice, your tool, your weapon. Kindle it and let it guide you to heights you never dared dream of. The world is waiting for your fire.